Today on Messy with Missy's podcast, I have the pleasure of talking to Tori Stafford's father, Rodney Stafford. I know so many of us, millions of us, know the story, and I'm just going to share a little brief part about this. Rodney is the father of 8-year-old murder victim Victoria Elizabeth Marie Stafford, also lovingly remembered as Tori. Many of you already know Tori was abducted from Woodstock, Ontario on April 8th, 2009. Sexually assaulted, tortured, and murdered. Her body was found on July 19, 2009 in a wooded area in Woodstock. Or sorry, not Woodstock, in rural Ontario. Her disappearance, investigation, and the search were a subject of a massive media coverage all across Canada. And I can't thank you enough even just for giving me the pleasure of doing a podcast with you. Because I remember, like I was just telling you prior, that day when it was all over the news. Had a daughter myself, 8 years old, so the same age as your daughter. And if you don't mind going back to that day, from the day that she went missing, how it all came about. Did the police do, what you felt was right away? Like,
Okay. So the day that Victoria disappeared was April 8th, 2009. I found out about it. Like, I was in school. I was trying to complete my grade 12 at the time, and I had finished school for the day. It was actually my day to pick up the kids for access and visitation. But I had decided to stay an extra hour at school that day. I had fallen behind. And I just wanted to get caught up. So I had ended up staying at school myself until 4 that day. Had gone home, and as soon as I got to the apartment, I had called over to say, like, I'm running late. I'll be there, soon, kind of thing. I just got to get some stuff done and whatnot. And then shortly after that, I ended up falling asleep.
yeah.
And then I woke up to my neighbor banging on the door, saying there's something wrong with Victoria. And so I had taken the phone from my friend, and it was Victoria's mom, Tara, telling me that Victoria hadn't come home from school yet, and she thinks she's missing. And that was at 25 after 6. So yeah, like I didn't know anything about it until about 3 hours. Yeah, almost 3 hours after school was released. Yeah. So once I got that phone call, I immediately got in contact with my mom. She took me over. We talked about it. Sorry, I couldn't go anywhere until the police talked to me. They came over and took a look through my apartment and everything. And then we ended up going over to Tara's place. And we got a little bit of a lowdown, and basically from there on, it was like we had no clue where she was. And like, I didn't, her mom didn't, our families didn't know. And so at that point in time, we had felt that there should have been an Amber Alert immediately called. Like, she's 8 years old.
Yeah.
She's 8 years old. It's not like her and a bunch of her friends, just got off school and thought, hey, let's go to London to the malls or something, right? Or let's take off for the weekend, kind of thing, or the rest of the week. So in that sense, with the Amber Alert, I feel that it was 15 days before they had called the Amber Alert. And that's 15 days was when the OPP had taken over for the Woodstock City Police.
Yeah.
So once OPP got involved, the Amber Alert was issued. And then after that, it was basically just searching, like, just like Jason. Like, my heart goes out to that man so bad. Like, if I wasn't 1,800 kilometers away from him, I'd be with him out there with him daily.
Yeah, I say the same thing.
It's not. Yeah, it's nothing. It's not something anybody wants to go through. No. And to know that people, like he said, the last little while, he's needing boots on the ground. Absolutely. He can't be the only one. he can't be the only one doing it.
Yeah.
It's going to kill him emotionally, financially, everything. It's going to destroy his life.
And
We
what I said to him
we
too is
all
that what breaks my heart is that when he is the only sometimes the boots on the ground is that as much as I know he wants to find his son, you never want to be the one. The parent should
you
never.
know what? I actually had that emotion come through me on April 8th. I was walking through Southside Park. It was only a few blocks away from where Victoria was living with her mom.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was walking through the park with a flashlight at the edge of the pond,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Like I'm calling out to her, I'm looking, I'm trying to find her, and then at the same time, I'm thinking, you know what, man, I don't want to be the one to find her.
Yeah. No, yeah,
um, I
I
want
get
her,
it.
I want her found. I want her
But you don't want
found,
to be the
but
one.
you know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
If there's something wrong with her, I don't want to be the one to find her in that condition.
Yeah.
But you have to do what you have to do. You're a parent. That's your child.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah. I was going to ask you too, when you said like you said you were like Jason when you were out there searching, did the police give you guys like a group, a team where they're like search here, or was it kind of just again search anywhere from the school perimeter onward?
I honestly I don't know about the search parties or anything like
Yeah.
that, because the moment after we were done speaking to the police on April 8th at Tara's place, I was immediately out searching myself.
Okay.
And like I was all over the place. Like it was Saturday morning. Yeah, so ninth, the 12th, the morning of the 12th.
Okay.
My mom had tracked me down to Southside Park, and she come down and met me, and she says, you got to start talking to people. People are starting to wonder, where the hell are you?
Yeah.
Like I was like, well, duh, where do you think I am?
Searching for my daughter.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
I had left, I had gone to school that morning, finished off the schooling, fell asleep, went over to Tara's after that, and from that point on the Wednesday, I didn't sleep. I was out every minute of those next 3 days, wherever I could walk, going through wooded areas, down train tracks,
Yeah.
and you hear people out calling her name, and helicopters flying overhead, police cars everywhere, like there was a lot of support.
Oh
There
yeah.
was.
Yeah, and even like I know that like you felt I hope that you guys felt the support because there was so many people, I mean millions of people that really felt like no words. I mean no words. I think
Yeah.
everything was somber, the day that she went missing. Quiet and somber.
Yeah, and that support is still continued through to this day. Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wanted to ask too, how long was it after that your Tori went missing that they got the video footage of McClinton, or how do you say her last name?
McClinton,
Yeah, walking from school. How long was that after she went missing?
that was, I believe, within the first few days, I think.
Oh, okay.
Don't quote me. Everything's
Yeah.
a little bit jumbly. They had the image of the woman. Oh, honestly, I'm not quite certain. That I'd have to go back over things, but I think that was actually released within like the first week and a half, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah. I think it was somewhere around there. And then it was May 19th, we were made aware that two people were being arrested, or had
Oh,
been arrested for murder.
okay. Oh, okay. Oh, geez. How is the family, being so long now? Is the family your family sticking together, holding up? Is
Oh,
no, because sometimes like, you kind of you
everybody's, yeah,
together or yeah.
everybody's scattered.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I'm still in the area where Victoria was taken from.
Okay.
I just a few things holding me back at the moment, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's an area I need to get rid of too.
Yeah.
But everybody's scattered, different provinces, different towns. But like at the drop of a hat, I could connect with any one of my family members, and I
Yeah.
know they'd be there for me.
Yeah.
It's the distance and everything has kind of killed things, though, because
Yeah.
I can't just go across town to hang out with my sibling, or
Yeah.
bike to the next town to see my mom, or
Yeah.
but at the same time, um they're like, it's weird because like, I'm not saying like, okay, Victoria was my daughter, right?
Yeah.
So with everything that happened to her, it's a daily thing for me.
Oh, for sure.
Whereas the rest of my family members, not saying it didn't hurt them,
Yeah.
not saying that whatsoever, but it's
Yeah.
easier for them to all put it behind them in a sense where they can move on.
Yeah.
And so they're all doing extremely well to my understanding. And like I'm so proud of my family for being able to carry on the way they have.
Yeah.
But I with everything that's going on, and then the government issues here and there with different inmates, and everything popping back up into the media, like it basically never ends for me, and I won't let it end because it's still about Victoria.
Yeah, exactly. Can you tell me a little bit about Tori's Law? I just actually shared that on my Facebook page because I want to get you more than 5,000 signatures. I want them to keep going up.
Honestly, there should be millions of
Absolutely.
signatures on that petition, because our fight for Tory's Law is to try to reintroduce. You take a life of a vulnerable person, whether that being a child, an elderly person, somebody who's handicapped,
Yeah.
disabled. You take the life of somebody who is vulnerable and cannot defend themselves.
Yeah.
Like it, yeah, in a heinous act, there should be no reason why there shouldn't be life means life. Like if we cannot take someone's life for taking another life,
Exactly.
then the maximum penalty should be, you live your life behind bars, you die behind bars. My
Absolutely.
daughter's never going to leave that wooden box she's in the ground. So why should the criminal who took her life be able to reestablish their life in society after the fact? And we all have to deal with it and then worry about, is he going to snap and do it again?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
no, it's time for change. And yeah, Canadians need to come together and stand up for our rights.
I'm going to add that onto the link of this podcast too to get like again, like did they ever give you an amount of signatures that you needed or
Well, no, see, those the change.org petitions,
yeah.
that I have come to recently find out they're all actually run by people who don't give a crap.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so that's I'm pretty much basing that on why there's so little signatures.
Okay.
It doesn't get out there the way that it should because it's not being shared the way that it should be because there's so many roadblocks, and like it doesn't matter what we do, it eventually all gets shut down
Yeah.
to a certain point where you've got a little bit of a flicker and you can start rebuilding things and then they
Yeah.
change things again. And but as long as we keep our eyes open and stay awake, we can make these changes.
Do you feel that there's any changes that have been made since your sweet daughter's gone missing that they've implemented now since her? Like whether it be maybe like the Amber Alert or anything
Yeah.
to do with it? Yeah.
Yeah, and in 2009, while I was like August 5th, 2009, I actually started a bike ride from Woodstock, Ontario to Edmonton,
Oh
and
wow.
it took me 44 days.
Wow.
I did complete it. But
Good for
when
you.
I guess I was about halfway through, or yeah, I don't even think it was that. I think it was like after the first week and a half of being on the road, I had been informed that they had made changes to the Amber Alert,
Oh,
um, with criteria. Yeah, changing it so it was easier for them to call an Amber Alert when
yeah.
children were involved.
Yeah, not wait
Um,
so many days, right? Yeah.
yeah, like I'm glad that change was made. Um, another thing that has happened was with Terry Lynn being transferred to the Healing Lodge back in. She was actually transferred December of 2017. I didn't find out till August of 2018.
Oh wow.
Um, but the whole part about that gets me is I was the only one that was not informed. There's other
Yeah.
people on the informing information list. They all got notified. So it kind of confused me as to why it took for me to hear it in
Yeah,
order for
that's
somebody to
not
say
right.
something, for
Yeah.
somebody else to say something.
Yeah.
Um, but I like we the stick. I'm gonna stick with it. Yeah.
Another question I wanted to ask you because I've lost my son and I've received a couple good signs over the years. Have you received any signs from Tori?
I believe I see them rather frequently.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
people like it's hard to explain, but
I know.
you kind of see things in a different way, you know.
Yeah, you do.
Like perfect example was my son Darren, Tori's brother.
Yeah.
Him and I were heading to a hockey game, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, if you ever see a sign, you know, you see a sign, can you please tell me so I can try to understand it, right?"
Yeah.
So we left Woodstock, and just as we were leaving Woodstock to go to this hockey game, they were doing a special memorial thing for Victoria for us
Yeah.
in Port Stanley,
Oh, nice.
and so just as we were leaving town, I was like, "Okay, buddy, I got to stop and get gas," you know, and so we ended up pulling into the gas station, pulled up to the pump. When I got out to pump the gas, there was one of those a brand new the little trees that hang on your rear view.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know you're talking about.
Like an air freshener. Sorry. Yeah. So there was a brand new air freshener in the package leaning against the gas pump, and it was purple.
Oh.
Right. So like, it's to somebody else, it's just garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, right away.
so I called my son out of the car. I said, hey, Darren, please come here, check this out. Right. I said, okay, here we are. We're going to this, like, they're honoring your sister at this hockey game. Okay. I didn't have to stop at that gas station. I didn't have to stop at that gas pump. I could have waited till we got to London, St. Thomas, like anywhere down that way to get gas. But we decided to get gas here. There's that purple little, just that little air freshener. But it's purple, dude. It could have been black. It could have been yellow. It could have been anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
To me, that's a sign Victoria's with us for the hockey game.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then there was another instance where he was trying to say that he couldn't tell if he was being able to see signs or anything and stuff like that. And then him and I had discussed doing like a ride back from Edmonton in 2010.
Yeah.
And on a tandem bike.
Yeah.
We had started it. It was doing great. We left Edmonton, started coming back this way, and then just the further we went, the further the worse things fell apart. And we tried to kind of make it work along the way, but it kind of fell apart.
Did you get any signs from her when she was first missing and before before they found her? Did you get any just any kind of even a feeling or?
The night she disappeared, just before I kind of had that thought, like by the pond there, I had walked under a bridge, and I think it's Parkinson Road in Woodstock. I had walked under that bridge following the river, and just as I came out the other side of the bridge, I full-heartedly swear, and I've mentioned it to probably about 10, 15 different people, that I swear I heard Tori say, "I'm okay, Daddy."
Oh.
And and then it just made it that much harder, right? Because why did I hear that? Like, where did it come from? Like, was it subliminally, like in my head kind of thing?
No, I think she was telling you that she's okay.
Yeah, it was just like the pain's over. But it was just the starting for us.
Yeah, you mean, right? No, I believe in all those signs, because I think when we need them the most, we get them, and sometimes we want them so much, but you get them, but we're not able to see them, right? So it's like your son, your son will get them. He's just got to be. Sometimes he might miss them. I get a lot of dimes. I don't know if you find dimes a lot. Dimes are
we find them the other day. My other son here, my 12-year-old son now, Cohen.
Yeah.
Him and I went for a walk the other day, and we were talking about something to do with this upcoming. We're going to be in Ottawa on the 16th.
Yes.
There's my conservative MP for Oxford is being sworn in, and we were invited to the swearing in.
That's so.
Yeah, so we're going to be heading up there, and me and my son were discussing this on the way to the store the other morning, and we were just talking about it, and I looked down and I found a dime, right?
Oh.
And I was like, cool, that's like, kind of related it to it, it's awesome. And then we were it was like 2 blocks later, I had ran into somebody, and I just started talking to them for a second, and my son he's been dying to find a 4-leaf clover, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I stopped to talk to this person outside the building we live in, and my son's like, Dad, and he starts freaking out. He
Did
finds
he
a
find
4-leaf
one?
clover.
Get out.
Yes. So he found a 4-leaf clover, and we found a dime just after having this conversation
Ah, that is
about
amazing.
about going to Ottawa and still, talking to people about making change.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
see,
yeah. There's other times, like, I've been sitting at home and there's been a candle going or something, and it's kind of got a flicker to it, and I
yeah.
just, Tori, are you with me? And then, like, the candle will stop freaking moving, like it'll stop flickering. It's just like,
I want
uh,
to ask you, I like because my son's been gone for it was 11 years 2 weeks ago. And I've maybe been lucky enough to have maybe 3 dreams of him in 11 years. Have you had any dreams of Tori? Because they say dreams are when they do come and visit us, because we don't really have dreams unless they're like, unfortunately, bad dreams in the beginning that we can't control, right?
I've had one.
Okay.
One very openly that it was Victoria, and I know it was Victoria,
Yeah.
and it was during the time frame she was missing.
Yeah.
Um, my brother and I'm explaining my dream, okay?
Yeah.
My brother and I were walking down a sidewalk part of Southside Park here in Woodstock,
Yeah.
and it was kind of dark out, but we noticed a light on inside the set of bushes,
Yeah.
right? And then he kind of walked off and he disappeared, and he came back and he says, or as he's in the bushes, I hear him go, "Oh my God, somebody's gonna be so happy to see you," right? And then excuse me for a
That's
second.
all right. No, you're getting me going too.
He carried her out of the bush, and he's like, "Oh, look who I found," and then he passed her to me, and I gave her a big hug, and everything. And then my somehow or another, my mom showed up, and I did the same thing. I was like, "Mom, here, give her a hug," like we found her, kind of thing. And then the dream kind of ended, and I woke up, and then it was only like maybe 2 weeks later we had found out that Victoria was found,
Oh,
right? And then I got it in my head, like, was that dream just like, okay, we found her in the dream, right?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
what was the point of my brother having to pick her up and hand her to me, and me hand her to my mom? Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't up jumping, running around, giving us hugs and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the only one I had of her, and it kind of, yeah, I left a mark.
Oh, yeah.
And then and then we shortly after that we had found out,
Oh,
Jim Smith had found her. Yeah.
your son, does he have any dreams of her?
My youngest son,
Yeah. Or
or
yeah.
my older, um, to be honest, my older son, we don't really communicate too much anymore. He's got a very, very himself,
Yeah.
and there's a lot there. Some negative, some positive, but I'm not sure where his mind's at with things.
Well, it's like you said
But my
too,
younger
it's really hard when you lose, like, because it was it just the two of them when she was gone?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was just Darren and Victoria at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Like just like
So yeah, and yeah, it was hard because to know that he was, and it's sad. Her brother was her main
yeah,
support.
yeah.
Like,
You're like
there's
that, right?
with
Yeah.
there's so many excuses as to why it was like that, or just, and it's, you look back and it's just like, wow, he was there more for her than probably me or mom,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it wasn't like a drug issue on my part or anything like that. Yeah, I smoked marijuana. I flat out said that from the beginning to everybody.
Yeah.
I have never denied that. But there has never ever been any other form of drugs in my life.
Yeah.
Okay. And it just, yeah, like it's changed so much. Like, and I don't, yeah. But my younger son, Cohen here, he likes to talk about her.
Yeah.
He never had the opportunity to meet her because he was born the September after
Okay.
Victoria was taken.
Yeah.
So yeah, so was that 17? Yeah, he was born 17 months afterwards. So
Okay.
but he always has a lot of questions. He always
Yeah.
wants to know more about her. And like, not ever having met her, he sees what we go through on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I try to, if there's things that where I feel like he could be involved, or I always give him the option. I don't throw him out there, just
Yeah,
because it was your sister. It was your sister. Get out there, like,
no, yeah,
like no, that's his choice. But him and I have a lot of conversations here regarding Victoria,
oh, good.
and he's a really good child, and he uses a lot of stuff that's happened in his life to advantage as well.
To advantage, yeah. And anything like, so again, with the change.org, I can still share that though, right? Because that's where the signatures are. They can still validate that with you. Yeah. And
I'm not sure. I actually thought those petitions only lasted a certain length of time, and I think they've actually been floating around a little while.
Yeah. Well, they're, like you said, I know there's a lot of controversy around them, because I remember when our son drowned, we had to get signatures to implement signs down at the mouth of the river. And they gave me like a ridiculous amount. I had to get like 5,000 signatures for one freaking sign. It was like, really? Like, bull crap.
Yeah. Like the change.org site, you get to a certain, like, it says, okay, now let's reach.
Yeah.
Okay, you reach that plateau, and then it's like, okay, now let's reach this.
Let's reach that,
and it just keeps doing that. Okay, let's reach this. Let's reach this. But whether or not people actually look at them or what, like, it's mind-boggling, because in a situation like this, with even the amount of signatures we have right now, something should be done to make change.
Oh, absolutely.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And everything I've had to go through and my family's had to go through for the last 5 years, it's all been against policy criteria and everything. And it just keeps getting thrown back in our faces. There's no compensation coming this way, but deal with it. Like, that's all we get.
Yeah. And there's like you said, like, you guys have already been through so much, and it's still been so many years, and you're still continuing to go through so much, because it's just like, maybe every time you kind of feel like you can settle down, it's like, bam, something else.
Yep.
Which kind of knocks you over.
Yeah, well, see, it's like you've got all that, but then you have, throughout the course of the year, you have all the milestones, like birthdays, like all the holidays that, the holidays where she would have been included in things. She's beyond, Victoria's beyond the point of graduating now, possibly having one of her own children, being married, like, there's so much she's missing out on, and we're all missing out on because somebody's deviance, and that's all it came down to, was somebody's drug addiction and deviance.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a pleasure talking, because it's going to be over in a couple minutes. So what I'm going to do is thank you so much, Rodney, for the pleasure.
Thank you.
And I'm going to put the change.org link in the YouTube description, and all the other information as well. And maybe we can touch up on another podcast, maybe in a little while.
Whenever you're ready. Yep.
And I have with you, and keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing for your girl.
I appreciate that. And I just want to say, like, if people, like, pay attention, because there's a lot of voices that are being opened up, and a lot of changes that could potentially be made within the next, not short period of time, but within a while. So
exactly.
And it's most important that people just continue adding their voice, whether they're a part of the system or they're just seeing somebody else out there suffering that shouldn't be suffering.
Yeah, exactly. Any other last words you want to do before we stop it?
Other than thanking you for doing this, and the nation for having continued support in the rights and fight for my daughter.
And from a parent that's lost a child to another parent, I love you with all my heart, and I'm hugging you through the screen. And just know that we're all still with you, and we never stop thinking about Tori. Just please know that. Never forgotten.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Much love.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, Rodney.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.